I'm going to steal a line from good old Paul Joseph Watson and start off this video and basically say, imagine my shock when I learned today that once again Boris and co have missed yet another Brexit deadline. And I pretty much thought this would happen because really, as we discussed on the recent Good Morning Walk, there is really only two options for Boris at this point. He either takes the deal that is on the table put forward by the EU, in which case that comes with Brexiteers in his own party rebelling, or he goes for a no deal, and then probably MPs on his backbenchers will probably rebel because they ran on a promise that Boris Johnson has, well, he's unanimously broken again. And he has led us into just one debacle after another throughout this entire year. So to say Boris missed another deadline is really not surprising. But the problem is where that leaves us. This leaves us in essentially limbo. After January the 1st, we will essentially be treated as a third country. And that will affect the UK economy, as you may remember, between the Conservative estimate, which is low at 8%, to 12%. Pile that on already on just this year alone of what's happened to our economy and the current recession that we're in. You notice a lot of people, especially on the news, really do not talk about the fact that Britain is in a recession. You know, not a lot of people talk about it on the news, but it is a thing that is happening. And we're going to do that to our economy with a no-deal Brexit even more. So we're talking double dipping recessions in 1 year. And yet, as we went through before, just a couple of weeks ago now, Britain relies on the good faith that people are going to continue to lend money to us because we're, quote, a safe investment. How long can that last? Oh, anyway, before we get into the article, please do remember to hit that like and share button, and of course down below there is a link to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link, and thank you very much to the people that do support me that way. So, on into the article, which comes from The Guardian, and the title is UK faces Brexit limbo after talks deadline missed. Oh. Negotiations of a Brexit trade deal inched towards compromise on fishing rights on Sunday, but missed a major deadline, raising the prospect of weeks without arrangements from the 1st of January, even in the event of an agreement. The teams, led by Chief UK negotiator David Frost, with his EU counterpart Michel Barnier, were expected to continue talks on Monday despite the European Parliament's notice that it would not vote on a deal if not secured by midnight on Sunday. The UK government source said, teams have been negotiating throughout the day and expect to continue tomorrow. Talks remain difficult and significant differences remain. We continue to explore every route to a deal that is in line with the fundamental principles we brought into the negotiations. Frost met Barnier on Sunday afternoon to discuss the latest EU proposals on fisheries, with the UK side proposing a series of questions to be answered on Monday, raising some hopes for progress. The UK Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, said that the talks have been detailed in recent days after the EU put in some unreasonable demands on fisheries. And it's just like, these were not unreasonable demands. In fact, you may have seen the map that I showed just a couple of days ago. And yeah, some people are right to point out you can't see which boats are non-EU and which boats are UK. But notice none of them are in fishing in UK grounds, or at least predominantly none of them are. You know, and go on top of that, that it is pointless going to the wall for an industry that is worth less than 1%. You know, we can go on just how ludicrous it is trying to essentially destroy Britain's entire economy for its fishing industry. It's just not worth it. Economically, it is just not worth it. So, but he was still hopeful of an agreement before Christmas. I'm sure that a deal can be done, but obviously it needs movement on the EU side, he said. Here's the thing. The EU have done plenty of stuff to actually accommodate. The thing is, we're the ones that are going, we'd like this, but we don't want to follow this. We want this, but we don't want this. We are trying to pick and choose, and the EU have been very clear since day one, we will not let you pick and choose. So, continues, the failure to meet European Parliament deadlines mean that the ministers on the EU Council representing the bloc's capitals may need to provisionally apply a deal on the 1st of January to avoid a no-deal exit until Parliament votes later in the month. If the talks go much deeper into December, however, there cannot be time for the EU capitals to translate and scrutinise the agreed text, leaving the UK with no exit transition period without no new trade and security agreements with Brussels. Contingency measures would have to be agreed to bridge the gap before a deal could actually come into force, but such a scenario ranges danger of ports and security services being left in legal limbo. Bernhard Lang, the German chair of the Parliament's Trade Committee, the key body in the Chamber's ratification process, tweeted, "The consequences of a no deal tonight is obvious. The European Parliament does not know the consolidated text. It is in no position to scrutinise before the end of the transition period. So make preparations for a no deal period and agree emergency measures with the UK." A major sticking point in the talks remains the EU's demand to be able to apply tariffs on entry and block the entry of British goods in the event of the government choosing to close off access to UK seas after the transitional period into phasing of new fishing agreements for European vessels. Under the British proposal, Boris Johnson insists that UK flag vessels have exclusive access to the 6 to 12 nautical mile zone off the British coast, fished for centuries by French and Belgian vessels. Such a move would lead to some British exports being kept out of its biggest market under the proposals for Brussels has tabled. Barnier tweeted, "In this crucial moment for the negotiations, we wish to work hard with David Frost and his team. The EU remains committed to a fair, reciprocal and balanced agreement. We respect the sovereignty of the UK and we expect the same." Both the EU and the UK must have the right to set their own laws and and control their own waters, and we should be able to act with our own interests are at stake. His comments indicate that there has been some movement on the issue, with both sides to take measures should their interest be threatened, but the UK has downplayed suggestions of a breakthrough. The exhausted British team in the UK and the mission to the EU, many of whom have been away from home for at least the last 2 weeks, were served mince pies and mulled wine delivered from the British ambassador's residence as they worked through Sunday. Clément Beaulieu, France's European Affairs Minister, said that he believed a deal with the UK remained double. "We believe we have given ourselves a few more days because we think there is agreement is still possible," he said. "It's hard, not sure, but it is worth a try. More than agreement, we want a good agreement, in particular preserving fishing and fair conditions for competition. Negotiations should be concluded in the next few days. We know where our red lines are and what interests we don't want to sacrifice." All the political groups in the European Parliament, apart from the Greens, agreed on Sunday that the Sunday night deal for a deadline deal. So, as you can see, there's two, and we've mentioned this before, when you hear the UK press, there's been no movement at all. You know, it's the EU that need to make movements, which is highly suggesting to me that there have been concessions from the UK side, and they are trying to build the groundwork that there is going to be a massive climb down from the UK, but it's going to be sold as this fantastic Brexit deal. See, guys, we've done it. Mission accomplished. Job done. And oh boy, when we get to scrutinising that deal. So Philip Lamberts, the co-leader of the Greens, said, "The position that we defend is that negotiators should be allowed to work until the last minute and simply give us time in January and February to scrutinise and ratify any deal. I'm watching quite gleefully, I must say, because I was quite angry at my colleagues and now they look, well, quite stupid." What can you say? We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but it is definitely, from what we can see, that there has been significant movements by the UK side, not the EU side, even though this is what the UK team are demanding, that there be, flexibility, but clearly not. And obviously, it looks like that there will be a deal, and of course, Boris and co are going to sell it as this magnificent deal. It's very likely that there will be Brexiteers upset by this deal, because I'm sure there will be something that they'll be upset by. Who knows? And of course, then we've got the fun of next year, because there will come a time where one of these new groups, be it the ERG possibly, Northern Research Group, the Common Sense Group, whatever, are going to try and remove some form of what we had of EU rules or EU legislation that we had, and that is going to be a battle, because the EU are just going to turn around and say, well, because you've done that, tariffs, or because you've done that, no access for this good or service. And that could start a whole brand new kettle of fish. So probably expect to see that next year. But anyway, thanks for watching, and please do remember to hit that like and share button on your way out. And of course, down below there's a link to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link. And thank you very much for all your watching and subscribing, all that stuff. Of course, 'tis the season upon us. Hope you have a very happy Christmas, and we'll see you all very soon.